PreferenceesAnimBot has a lot of features. Over here under the U, if you go to Preferences, this is where you're going to be able to set up the preferences for your working experience. Some of the preferences that I think are really important for you guys is to make sure that under time bookmarks that you have affected by nudge tools selected. So what that means is that when you've created some bookmarks in your shot and you start moving your keys and timing around using these green nudge tools, that it will also move the bookmarks. Under extra tools, I also recommend having auto clear channel box selection. What this means is that when you're editing control and say you've got, and I do hope you guys actually have this set up, you want to make sure in your preferences down here, in your My Preferences, so in our My Preferences, we want to make sure here under the time slider that we have Sync to Timeline Display and Sync to Graph Editor Display checked. When you have that checked, so with this control here, if I select just Y, right, the Y channel, it means that it's going to select just the Y channel here. It will also show the key ticks in my timeline for just the Y channel. So sometimes you may only have animation on a particular channel for this. With Auto Clear Channel Box selected, that means if I go and I click on my next control, do you see how it's now selected the entire control and I don't just have the Y translate channel selected? With that not selected, I'll show you the difference. So if I don't have that selected and I select this control and I'm in here happily editing my Y translate channel and then I go to another control, you'll see that now if I go in here and I set some keys, the only keys that will be saved will be my Y translate keys. It won't save controls for anything else because it did not clear that channel selection. So that's why it's really important to have this auto clear channel selection box selected. So I also have the graph editor toolbar selected. We'll go over the graph editor toolbar in a little bit, but without it, let's just see what that, you don't get the extra Animbot controls inside of your graph editor. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that selected. I also like to have tumble around selection checked on. So when you do that and you have tumble around selection selected, it's going to tumble around the last thing that you selected. So now it's tumbling around his head. If I select the foot, it's going to tumble around the foot. So that just helps a little bit when you're framing stuff. Smart Euler filter. So typically you want to have it on, but if you're going to do a shot similar to the type of stuff I've actually given you reference for, there might be instances where you'll want to turn the Smart Euler filter off. Sliders overshoot mode. I have it checked off right now. Usually when I'm using my mirror to frame slider over here, I will check off the slider overshoot mode. But when I'm really just using my green sliders and my tweeners, I will check this on, and so then you get natural overshoot. So you can go beyond the pose before or after when you're using these tools. Anim recovery. Some people at MPC have said that having save anchor checkpoints selected slows their Maya down and crashes their Maya scene. I've not had that experience, but I also don't want to have that experience. So I would recommend checking this off if you've had any issues with using the anim recovery tools. You do want to have anim recovery selected. It will save you a lot of time and heartache. Let's see, is there anything else in here that I have? Show tooltips. If you are tired of hovering over a control and having the tooltips pop up, you can turn this off. So I hope that helps. That's a little bit about our AnimBot preferences.